Multi-award-winning sculptor, writer and poet, cultural historian, Professor Pitika Ntuli joins me now. Prof, good evening. Welcome. It's always lovely to talk to you. Firstly, condolences to you on the loss of your dear friend. And I would love to invite you to share a fond memory of your time together.
It's very interesting because one of those moments, you were there in most of the moments, in our house and in our studios. But one of the most important moments is when he came to London, and at the same time, Matsimela Manaka was there, and Bika Masego was there, and we are all sitting there talking about exiles and and exiles. And he was absolutely touched by a poem that Bika Masego did. I just quote that poem because it meant a lot to him. Generally speaking, in Africa, we canon saluted General de Gaulle of France. He packed and left Francophone Africa. As for Churchill, we watched his bowing out parade. General Spinola of Portugal lost his generalship down in the African bush. Viva Frelimo. As for the founders of their racist barracks, General Botha, General Smuts, General Herzog, it is time for us to take cover. For generally speaking, the best of the generals is the general uprising. And he remembered that the poem that was published 3 months before the Soweto uprising, he had a facility to connect things that other people failed to connect. And what I also remember very fondly is that whenever Antoinette and my wife decides that I was a bit boring, he'll bring the Don Mattera to come to the house, then the imams and the I guess, and they will all come in there. And she even posted that he loved my wife more than I loved her. And when I want to open my mouth, he says, "Hey, Don, you are younger than me. Just keep quiet."
Oh, that's divine. When you read it, Prof, and also, we're talking to you, and, just the preservation of works of people of the caliber of yourself and Bra Don, not only the preservation, but the proliferation of such works among society, school children, teenagers, young revolutionaries, where you hear it quoted a lot more often. That really is the challenge of this generation as we begin to lose so many people who've made such a powerful mark. And in reciting that piece of the poem, and we know that that was very much part of his genre, part of his soul, and in the way that he wrote, you're reminded again of just how revolutionary, his thinking was, and how progressive his thinking was about where, the sites of oppression and wounding in our society is, and what we need to do about it.
Yeah, because remember, we spoke about a lot about it. One of the things that affected him most was a lack of intergenerational conversations in our country. That there is a kind of a disjuncture. When we grew up, I was mentored by people like Ken Temba, Ezekiel Mpashele, and the rest of them. But today, those people are not. It is only Bra Don that has taken up the role of the intergenerational. And I remember me and him, Lebu Mashile and Ntsigi, preparing for the inauguration of Thabo Mbeki. To have been there at that moment, the exchange between two young black women and two old men, and him facilitating the discussion, indicated what kind of a very special person that he was. And he loved the poems of Bika Masego I quoted. Now, when I recite this short one again, you'll understand why. Because he loved children. Bika Masego, for instance, writes, and he says, when you walk in a street and you see young boys playing football and you say, "Pass it to me, please," and they pass it to you suppressing giggles, you know you're no longer one of them. And when you see young girls, and no longer see them as girls, but seeing them as older people, and they tell you, go away, know that you are beginning to get old. And when you sit with old people and they start telling you their secrets and ask for advice, know you are one of them.
Well, Professor, it's always such a delight talking to you, and that intergenerational conversation you're talking about, way overdue. It's something that must happen. Thank you for sharing those beautiful recollections with us on the life of Dr. Zinga Bradon, Professor Pitika Ntuli, cultural analyst.
Thank you very much.